Welcome, everyone. I'm George G, and welcome to George G's Room of Rock. We'll be discussing all things hard rock and metal, different genres, some classic rock, whatever we can fit in here. But in my first episode, we're going to talk about my 25 favorite bands. So let's start. Number 25, Overkill. A signed copy from the band, which I met a few years ago. Bobby Blitz I met a few times. Very nice dude, really friendly, just down to earth guy, and the band is fantastic. Awesome thrash from Jersey. Can't go wrong with any of their albums. They really didn't put out a bad album ever. That's number 25. Number 24, my friend Steve's favorite band, Deep Purple. Now, I'm not too much of a fan of the Mark I era. I do like some songs, but the Mark II, Mark III, and even Tommy Bolin album is very good. The newer stuff is excellent too. But Reggie Blackmore, Ian Gillan, the classic lineup with them, and Roger Glover and Ian Pace, and the late great John Lord. Can't say enough about how good the band was and how they helped shape what we call heavy metal, even though not really a heavy metal band, but they sure shaped it with the sound with their earlier albums. So, Deep Purple, number 24. Number 23, Rockin' with Dokken. So this is their debut, but oh, by the way, all the CDs, all the ones I'm showing are CDs. I don't have any vinyl to play, so it's all CDs. And these are not my favorite albums. Just showing it out to show the band. Anyway, Don Dokken had an amazing voice back in the day. I know it's got trouble now singing, but he's getting older, and that's what happens. But still, great early albums, awesome voice. George Lynch, another amazing guitar player, and just a great band. So that's number 23. Number 22, you wouldn't have any thrash metal without Dave Mustaine and Megadeth. When he started Metallica, made them Metallica, but he was the reason why. And Megadeth, another amazing band that just defies all things, sounds more very technical with some of their music, very jazz-like. But Dave Mustaine and company and all the revolving members he's had put out good albums. That's all there's to it. Good thrash and even beyond that. So that's number 22. Number 21, White Lion. Always loved White Lion. I mean, Vito Bratta was one of the most amazing guitar players too, and for that genre of the quote unquote glam metal. Too bad he doesn't play anymore, but he kind of left the music business. But he left us some great albums. Not a lot, but still great albums. And yeah, that's my 21. Okay, number 20, LA Guns. They seem to like this logo because they use it on a lot of albums for some reason. I don't know. But it's a good album. It's a good logo. This is one of the newer ones. They have Phil Lewis and Tracy Guns on this one, and they were, of course, the original band too. But this is excellent stuff. LA Guns, the newer stuff is really good, and the early stuff is one of my favorites of this genre. More sleaze metal, really, but excellent. LA Guns, number 20. Number 19, Cinderella. Another band that gets lumped into the glam metal, even though they're really not. If you listen to their reviews, they're really harder than that. More AC/DC-ish than anything. But this one, the particular album, they kind of went a little different route, more bluesy, but still Tom Keith are still going, and Jeff LaBar, rest in peace. Another one of my favorites. So it's number 19. And number 18, Ozzy. Can't have anything without Ozzy. He just was amazing. I say amazing a lot, but just how you can describe these bands. But Ozzy, he's up there in age. He's still trying to do it. Got a new album coming out, but you wouldn't have anything without that voice and the way he presents himself on stage. He just gives it his all. So Ozzy, number 18. Number 17, Rainbow, another Richie Blackmore band that he put together after he left Deep Purple. And this one's just with Ronnie James Dio. I mean, with him and the vocals, this lineup was just amazing. Like I said, I know he's amazing a lot, but it's what it is, because Ronnie's amazing, and so was Richie. So was a great late Cozy Powell. And of course, we lost Ronnie too. But Rainbow, 17. Number 16, of course, Black Sabbath. Again, you don't have nothing without Black Sabbath, without metal. This is what metal was, and this is what they made metal, whether they tried to or not. They did make a sound that was metal, and Black Sabbath was beyond their real years, I guess, with predicting who they would, how they would change the music world forever. But Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler and Bill Ward, who should have been on the last tour, by the way, but I don't make those decisions. But of course, Black Sabbath. Next up, the man himself, Dio. Amazing. I keep saying amazing. All right, incredible singer. I met him years ago when he was with Heaven and Hell, and he's such a nice guy too. I'm really just a normal guy to talk to. He doesn't hold himself up. I didn't want to talk to him. He was a really, really just a good guy, and his voice is amazing, and I miss him all the time. So Dio. Okay, what are we up to now? Hold on. Kind of losing track here, but next up, the Mighty Maiden. Of course, what hasn't been said about Maiden? That with what hasn't been said already. Love this album. Love the band. Haven't seen him in a long time, but Bruce still holds up well with his voice. And Paul Di'Anno, the old albums were amazing. And nowadays, people don't like some of the new stuff. I really like the newer stuff. I like the new album. I think they've just done a great job. They've changed the way they play, changed their sound, changed the way the music they play, and I still think it's excellent. But and there you go, Maiden. The next two bands are kind of moved up the list from my from years now, and for some reason I just never was into them as much back then, but now I'm totally into them, and I love them to death, and that's Rush. Never saw them live, wanted to, but again we lost Neil Peart a couple years ago. Another tragic loss. They did stop touring back in 2015, but I mean Rush has done everything from proto metal to prog to whatever they're doing in the 80s to get back to their roots back in the 90s and beyond. So another just amazing band, and then amazing again. But there you go, Rush. Okay, what is we now? Hold on. 12. Oh, sorry. Number 12 is Queen. Another one we lost to Freddie Mercury years and years. So many years ago. Still one of the best vocalists ever, and he's been gone a very long time. But Queen is just one of those bands that influenced anyone. It doesn't have to be the hard rock and metal, but always anyone else, because they just love his voice, they love the band, they love the music, and they've changed a lot over their music and over the years. So they did a lot of different things and a lot of different experimentation, and it worked for the most part. Some of the early 80s stuff was maybe a little odd, but I love Queen. Rest in peace, Freddie. Another one we lost. Losing a lot of these incredible artists, and that was Van Halen. Eddie, I can't believe he was gone when he left. I couldn't believe it. It was one of those shocking ones because I didn't even know he was that sick when it happened. I was just devastated. It was just terrible. But he left us many great albums with Roth and with Hagar, and it's just stuff there for the rock world. But Van Halen, rest in peace, Eddie. All right, now the top 10 here. Next one is another one that gets, I guess they get dissed a little now because of what they are now, but they can't. Everyone loves their early stuff, and I still like their later stuff though, and that's Metallica. And again, rest in peace, Cliff. I love the early stuff. I love the new stuff, the mid stuff. Again, 90s was a tough time for this kind of music, but I mean they did experiment, and it didn't really do well for them, but they still made it big, and they were the biggest bands ever, and still are. So, they must be doing something right. So, Metallica, number 10. Number 9 is Judas Priest. Another one I've seen a few times, and got to meet them. Or at least I got to meet Rob Halford and KK Downing and Glenn Tipton years ago. This is one of their classic ones, but they got a lot of classic albums. Rob's voice, excuse me, is ungodly at times. So, Judas Priest, number 9. Number 8, Aerosmith. Early Aerosmith, can't touch early Aerosmith. The new stuff, but early stuff here up to the 80s to, I'd say, through Get a Grip. I like Get a Grip. After that, but, you know, they're still going, still putting. And one thing about Aerosmith, they always change their set list. If you watch their set list, even now, they always change the set list when they play. So, you know, gotta like that stuff. Aerosmith. Okay, what do we have now? Losing track here, sorry. 3, 4. Okay. Number 7 is Rat. Now, this is the second band I ever got into. So they mean a lot to me. And Stephen Pearcy's voice back then was really good. And the band's really good. They put out quality albums, you know. I mean, they can lump it the hair thing, but they were on in that LA scene, but they also played around with different musicians, and you know, they were in the Metal Massacre first, I guess the first pressing of it, but then it was off the next one. But anyway, Rat. That's one next, number 6. Sorry, that's number 7. Number 6 is The Mighty Twisted Sister, who I've also seen a couple times. And every time I've seen him, they're amazing. He's just amazing. He still can sing good. He still is just the same. I think the same guy he was when he started. And they make fun of their other albums weren't, or later albums weren't, or later album I should say. Love for the Suckers wasn't as well received, but the early stuff definitely was amazing. And again, the amazing word, but Twisted Sister, number 6. Number 5 is the only one on this list that is not a hard rock or metal band. But without this band, you have nothing. You don't have Black Sabbath. You don't have any of these other bands. Led Zeppelin, nothing. The Beatles. But I have nothing without the Beatles. As if you don't have the Beatles without Elvis Presley. So, gotta, give them props. And the other one props. But always loved the Beatles. My friend Sean loves the Beatles. He just worships them, and he really got me into them a lot. So, and rest in peace, John and George. Left us great music, and doesn't matter how long they've been broken up, they still rate as one of the greatest bands ever. So, the Beatles, number 5. All right, number 4 is another one of the classic bands, Led Zeppelin. Another one that just had, I love Jimmy Page, and Robert Plant's voice, one of my favorite vocalists ever, and John Bonham, my favorite drummer, one of my favorite drummers, and just John Paul Jones, who always never gets, I guess, the recognition for in the band, but he was a big part of the band. And again, you don't have hard rock or metal without Led Zeppelin. Even though they're not a metal band, they don't want to be a metal band. But without them, there is no metal. So, Led Zeppelin, number 4. Number 3, the band put out the same album every time. Everyone says, but who cares? They're all good. AC/DC. Whether it's the Bon Scott era or the Brian Johnson era, it doesn't matter. They're still AC/DC. And great riffs, and just Angus Young's still a great guitar, and rest in peace, Malcolm. We're losing too many artists, people. Too much. I know it's tough, but it is what it is. Anyway, AC/DC, number 3. Number 2 is the Kings of the Sunset Strip, Motley Crue. My friend Joe was got me into them a long time ago too, and still love all their albums. I don't care, maybe 1, 2, they're not as good, but still good. And Motley Crue, the Kings of, like I said, of the LA Strip, and just great. And Nikki Sixx, amazing songwriter. Another amazing. Let's just call it the amazing George G. Room of Rock, but whatever. Anyway, Motley Crue, number 2. And number 1, and my shirt gives it away, is Kiss. I've been into Kiss for so many years now. It's just, I don't know. It's something about them. I saw the first one video by them, Lick It Up, when I was, I think I was 7th grade. And that was it. It hooked me on. My friend Mike was really into them, and he got me really into them. So Kiss has just been such an integral part of my my teenage life. After Star Wars, it was Kiss, and it hasn't looked back ever since. So again, God bless them for just being Kiss. And you don't like what they do sometimes, but rest in peace, Eric Carr, Mark St. John, and just thank you, Paul, Gene, Ace, and Peter, for just changing the way I look at anything for music and just changing my life really. So that's my number one. So that's it. I want to thank anyone who's watching. If you like what you're watching, like and subscribe. And I want to thank people that I do watch on this, and that you should be watching too, which you probably do. P. Pardo from CS Tranquility, Jeff Waters from No Life Till Metal, and John from Larry Alchemist, and Matt from the Accusation Network. But especially I want to thank Darcy from Six Strings Nine Lives he corresponded me a little bit of this and gave me a little bit of, I guess, a little like just go for it and just do it. So I want to thank him. So thank you, Darcy, and everyone keep rock and metal alive, and God bless. Thank you.